Directions for your oil pastel pumpkins. Remember your name and teacher code. First, decide on your paper orientation. You could do a tall pumpkin or kind of a fat, wide pumpkin. After you've decided, about a finger from the top is where your stem is going to stop. You start by creating 2 slightly curved lines, and you should probably be able to fit a couple fingers in that space, and then a little small dip, and then a little small hill. And then for the bottom, you're going to create a small little U shape or dip shape here. Then you'll start creating your pumpkin from your stem, and you can always make it a little larger. So from the one side of your stem, you're going to swoop out and make kind of a C shape almost to the edge. And same thing on the other side, from the stem all the way, big swoop out. And now I'm going to add extra lines starting at that stem spot. And these ones aren't going to be quite as big of C's. They're going to stop a little bit short, so it looks like we're only looking at part of the pumpkin. And each side might be a little different. That's okay. Pumpkins are not perfectly round or shaped. And here, just little parts of the pumpkin peeking. And then more curved lines. And make sure they're not too close together, especially on the kind of major belly part of your pumpkin. You should be able to fit a few fingers in between those shapes, those kind of C shapes going back and forth. And then mine's a little bit small on one side, so I'm going to add an extra C shape to make my pumpkin nice and big and fill my page. Then to give your pumpkin kind of a glow around it, you're going to use a side of a yellow oil pastel. Most likely it will have other colors on it, so if you hold a paper towel and just kind of wipe the side that you're going to use and just get as much of that color off as possible, you'll have to kind of stop and check and see. It doesn't have to be perfectly clean, but definitely get off a lot of those other colors because you don't want all that mixing happening on your paper. When we add this glow, it's really nice because it kind of helps mask if we accidentally do a little smearing. When you get your pastel cleaned off, use the side of it and just go around your pumpkin. If you accidentally get some on your pumpkin a little, it's okay because we won't see it when we add the orange and the green to the other parts of our pumpkin. So just add kind of a light glow going all the way around your pumpkin. Then you'll start coloring your pumpkin. I like to start with red first at the top, and if you need to wipe off your pastels, you can do that as you go. And then when you color, you're coloring pretty dark and you're not coloring quite down halfway. And focus on one section at a time. And that way we'll have much neater coloring. I'm going up and down in the little space on my pumpkin, coloring very dark. And I'll actually smooth this out even more when I overlap other colors. And I didn't quite color halfway down that space, but I did color a ways down. And then I'm going to overlap the orange on top of the red to really start blending them together. Your coloring should be very, very dark. And when you go back and forth over it, the little white spots will gradually disappear. You're going to color your orange pretty close to the bottom. It's really up to you how much of these colors you want to show. Yours can look different than mine. That's totally fine. Maybe you want to use more orange and yellow than me. That's totally fine. When you use your last color, when you use yellow, you really, really want to blend everything together. Hold on securely to your paper so it doesn't slide all over the place. And I'm trying not to put my fingers in the red and the orange because that really smears and shows the most. Because as you probably recall, if you've ever used pastels, they smear very easily. So we do not want to touch the colored areas, the really, really heavily covered areas. And if you need to, you can always tap those little crumbs off in the trash every now and then when you get a lot of them collecting on your paper. So see the little crumbs? Those can just get tapped off in the trash, no problem. Don't brush them off because we don't want to smear. Keep going with this process. Start with the red in your section, go down as far as you like, and then gradually add in the other colors, doing lots of overlapping. There should be barely any white spots showing. Don't forget to shake off those crumbs. Then I'm going to use a mixture of 2 greens because I like the effect of blending the colors. Remember, you can wipe them off if you need. I'm going to start with the dark green and outline my pencil lines so I can see them a little bit better. And then I'm going to use the light green and just a little bit overlap this dark green line so the colors start to blend together a bit. You can also add vines like your pumpkin is in a pumpkin patch. They can be kind of coming from the edges of your paper or coming from your stem, whatever you decide. I'm using dark green, but maybe you want to use light green. That's an okay choice too. After you have outlined your stem, carefully color that in. Do a little bit of overlapping on top of the other color green if you use two, so they'll blend. You could even add a little bit of yellow too. For the final step of this project, you have to very carefully retrace all of your pencil lines. Be careful where you place your hands because you do not want to touch your black lines because you don't want them to smear. And you want to take your time, go nice and slow so that you're not missing your pencil lines and so that your lines are nice and bold and we're not accidentally smearing where we don't want to. So keep going. Continue this process until you've retraced all of your original pencil lines.